The Art of Hobbyist. My name is Tamara, and I'm joined by my co-host and very dear friend, Erin Shimone.
Hello.
She's in the house.
Thanks, Tam.
You're welcome. Okay, so today is an Erin hobby episode. Mm-hmm. You actually just took a trip, no kids, to Japan.
That's right.
And you were there for a total of 7 days?
Right.
7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So you guys as a family travel quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then this being your big trip without kids.
Yes.
I have a lot of questions.
Yes.
Specifically around mom guilt.
Okay.
Because I know that in talking to you prior to the trip, that was something that was not even just resonating with you, but also with Adam, your husband.
Yeah.
Like I think he also was feeling dad guilt.
Yes.
About leaving your kids. So I want to kind of talk to you about so some people do travel as a hobby, right?
Yeah.
I would say that you guys.
Yes, I would say so. Yes, backtracking to that, definitely travel has always been a big hobby. Before we had kids, we would go on many long trips every year. That was a goal. And even once we had kids, not for the first couple years of their life, but once things got a little more manageable, we even sat down and made a goal. We want to travel quarterly with or without our kids, because we love traveling, the act of traveling and seeing new places and experiencing new things. And so we've been trying to keep that trend going. Almost 2 years ago, we started planning this trip to Japan with our friends, and when we signed up with it, it was it was so far away. We're like, yeah, we'll do it, that sounds amazing. And as it got closer, it got more real and you start to think about whoa, I'm leaving my kids for 8 days, or not, it ended up being 9 days because with the travel days on each end.
Oh yeah.
And so there definitely came with a lot of guilt and just fear and feeling anxious, some separation anxiety from them, and I'm sure they felt that from us, and feeling bad for leaving them for so long and putting that stress on them. So that was definitely challenging. I didn't really ever overcome it. We just kind of got through it, and it ended up being okay.
Everybody lived.
We all survived. We all survived, and it was fine. And looking back, I'm like, it was fine. I didn't need to stress out so much.
Okay,
so,
but you said you guys never overcame the guilt. So how did you manage having that guilt, but also trying to live in the moment and enjoy this experience?
Yeah, it was tough. I definitely got homesick some, and I don't usually have that feeling on a trip.
Really?
Because this is the longest we've been away from our kids, since they've been born. Yeah. And we stayed busy. It was such a culturally different place to visit that it was very exciting and so many new experiences. So that helped. You're distracted, but at night when you go to bed, you're like, oh, I want to snuggle my babies, so that was a time when it would hit and you get homesick. And it didn't hit every night, but there was a couple nights where I had the feeling of I just want to go home. But then you get up the next day and you're doing amazing things again, and overall the experience was very positive, and those snippets in time were a small piece of it. It's just a new chapter of our lives for traveling, and unfortunately it's just different now. And now that we've had that experience, I feel like it would be easier in the future, because now we know that we all got through it fine. They were fine. We readjusted. We got home. It took a couple of days, but now we're back on track, back to status quo,
Yeah.
And so I don't have necessarily advice about that other than you will get through it, and it is okay to take that time for yourself.
It is.
And it's good for them too. Luckily we had the support of grandparents to help.
I was just going to ask who had the babies during that. Yeah.
So that was, I know not everybody has that luxury, but we were fortunate enough to have that, and knowing that they were with people that they love and are used to being with was really, comforting. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Do you think Adam equally struggled at the same times as you, or do you feel as far as having that guilt, or do you think was he ever able to overcome it? Was his harder times
it didn't
at
seem
night?
like it hit him as hard, or he didn't vocalize it as much. So I think he did better with it than I did.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make it seem like it wasn't all encompassing. It was just moments of time where I would feel it, And I don't even know if it was guilt or just anxiety of like
traveling into a completely different
we're both away from them, you know, I don't know. It's a weird feeling. So,
but I think so I know that like, because like this was the big one that you guys took away from each other.
Yeah.
What are some benefits that you found by taking because I mean, taking that length of time, I mean, it really kind of forces you to remove yourself as like a quick response person or default parent.
I mean, we were not available. We were literally 14-hour difference, so we were literally not available.
Yeah.
And you know, that was amazing that we had people that could take care of our kids and manage that. You know, we were lucky enough that nothing happened that we needed to be available for. But yes, it really helped us unplug. There was something mentally about that. Not having any sort of responsibility for a week was kind of unsettling in some ways, you know. You're like, wow, it took a while to even adjust to that, you know.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, obviously there's so many benefits of seeing new places, experiences, trying new food, being in a new culture where people don't really speak English, being outside your comfort zone. Just it can grow you as a person in so many ways. And then we were being with Adam, my spouse, like just one-on-one time. I mean, gosh, it's
extensive too.
Uninterrupted one-on-one time. You know, it really helps our relationship.
Absolutely.
And then we were traveling with other friends as well, and that, you know, obviously added another element of being able to grow those relationships.
Yes.
Exactly. So multifaceted benefits of the traveling, you know,
absolutely,
just as a individual person, relationships, you know. And then I think I hate to say it, but it's probably good for our kids to be uncomfortable for a little bit, you know,
absolutely,
to miss us a little bit and be with other people So, yeah.
Well, and like you said, they're with grandma and grandpa, you know, who love them unconditionally. Yes. And in fact, they probably had way more fun than you did. They probably were like, Mom and Dad can leave all the time.
Probably. All the candy.
Okay, so like, you know, when you travel, like you submerge yourself into, is that the right word? Yeah. Submerge yourself in other cultures, other societies, and you were there extensively, right?
Right.
Was there, you know, going back to like hobbies, was there anything that you noticed that was hobbies there that were unique to?
Yeah, so within traveling as a hobby, I feel like it does, at least when I travel, it's like I'm all about trying anything that comes our way, new experiences. So, I mean, going out to eat was a big one, trying new food. I tried some weird food, that was for sure.
I tried
to really like
You sent me a picture of this giant fish hole that was looking back at you.
Yeah. In Japan, and I don't know if it's always like this, but we went to a lot of dinners where it's lots of little plates and you don't really know what stuff is.
Okay.
Like, you're just getting served these little plates of fish and things. Okay. And so, you know, you don't always know what it is, and you're like, all right, I'm going to try
Just go for it. You're just going to try it. You're so adventurous.
So that really was like, you know, a stretch. So that was one thing, trying new food. And then I guess back to answering your question, one of the strangest things that I came across was I ordered this rice dish that I thought was just going to be like raw, salmon sushi and avocado and some other fish. I get it. So this fish was called whitebait. And I was like, okay, whitebait, that sounds like maybe a whitefish.
Sure.
Nothing big.
Yeah.
I get it. And it's all these little like wormy things. And I said, Adam, what is this? And he's like,
bait.
Just give this to me. Like, he's like, put it on my plate. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. And he told me later, and it was baby eels.
Oh my God, the baby.
Yeah. So I did not eat that. I got weirded out by that.
Yeah, did he eat them?
He did. Yeah. So
Did he like it?
I guess. I don't know. He ate it. So anyway, so yeah, that was different. And you know, you go to the markets, you've probably seen like markets in Asian countries. They have lots of strange things. So our friend Jason, he ate like a whole baby octopus.
Oh my God.
Like whole. Like,
oh my God.
Like it was cooked. But yeah, I couldn't do that either. So anyway, so just things like that. So that, and then as far as hobbies, we did a cooking class.
Oh, okay.
Where we learned to cook ramen.
No way.
Yeah, so that was really cool. We literally made the pasta ourselves.
Oh my God, that's
amazing. Made the noodles. And actually, that was one thing I think I kind of want to do this. Like the pasta making, it was actually not that hard. And you get they had a pasta machine to make the noodles. But yeah, we did everything from scratch. So that was really neat.
You've actually talked before about being interested in making like homemade pasta noodles.
Yeah.
So that actually doesn't surprise me me that you tried it and actually really enjoyed it. How long was the class? Because I feel like
it's about 3 hours. Okay. It did take a while.
Okay,
but we did every little step. Made everything. There's probably ways you could speed it up a little bit. Like even made like the broth, from scratch and just everything. So
making broth in itself, I think, is a hobby.
Yeah, it takes a while. Yeah. So that was one hobby type activity that was really neat.
Okay.
And then obviously there's sightseeing and trying to dabble in the language, which I was not very successful at. I was just going to
ask. I was like, what about the language? Did you try?
Not really. No. I mean, dabbled a tiny bit, but not much.
Did anybody else in the group try?
Yeah, there was definitely other people that were really into it and tried to practice beforehand.
That's great. So were they did they try it out?
Yeah, they did. They did. There were some people that were definitely more bold and been doing that. And everybody in Japan was very kind. The people are very kind. So we did a tea tasting, tea ceremony. So that was exciting, trying different teas. So yeah, there is a lot of just activities, hobbies built into traveling if you look for it.
So did you find anything in that culture that you really liked that you thought maybe you would bring back to your home, maybe bring back to your perspective as far as approach to hobbies? Like, for instance, pasta making. You talked about that being one that you want to do.
Yeah.
You said you enjoyed doing it there. Do you think that maybe you could branch starting with the ramen side?
Yeah, I think that was definitely the biggest one that stuck out to me.
So funny because you're Italian.
I know.
So I love the fact that your first step into making noodles was ramen.
Yeah. I mean, that was the biggest one for sure. Is bringing that home because I feel like we could definitely implement that. I'm trying to think what else. Not anything that comes to mind other than that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's amazing. And I think, I think trying to show your kids the positives of going and exploring other cultures, and how interesting diversity can be can just benefit everyone.
Absolutely.
Right? We always support inclusivity, meaning me and you.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's great that you found some positives that you're able to bring back and talk about that, because trying new cultures and even trying to communicate with the other culture and hearing they're so nice and accepting. That's all you want, right?
Yeah. And I guess I will say one thing else we brought home was Roman, my son, 5-year-old, before we left, we eat sushi fairly often at our house, just rolls. And he asked for kid chopsticks.
No way!
So we brought those home for him. So that was kind of fun.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And so literally the first night we got home, he asked to make homemade sushi and eat with his chopsticks.
Great.
So that was cool too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So then his hobby is going to be perfecting the sushi roll.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah, maybe.
And then you can just sit back on a Friday night and just enjoy the little rolls that he makes and it'll be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Okay. So then what about tips? We talk about I know we kind of honed in just on your one trip as a mom without kids, right? Yeah. But there's also a lot of traveling moms with kids, specifically you, right? Yeah. Do you so we're not as much as we haven't traveled as much with our kids, mostly because sometimes I find that traveling with my kids is basically just taking the chaos into another location, right?
Yeah,
You're
definitely.
just why did we do this? Yeah. I feel when you bring your kids with you, a lot of times the trip becomes all consuming and just making sure the kids are having fun.
Right.
And you kind of forget about yourself having fun, right? Have you guys found any tricks in traveling with your kids that allows you to find fun for yourself while also finding fun for your kids or doing it together? Where do you guys stand on that?
I think as far as traveling with our children, the biggest tips that I have is trying to find vacations that have built-in entertainment. So, for example, I've kind of given up on going to cities and stuff with kids right now, because it's just so much work to drag them around to different. I'm not interested in going and looking at museums and sites with them right now. They're just too wild. So the best vacation that I found right now is to either go close to, or if you can, stay close to or on a beach or a lake where there's some built-in activity,
water activities,
where you can just go outside and walk to the lake or the beach, and that definitely seems like the easiest thing with kids. Definitely traveling, thinking about the details of your actual travel, the timing of your flight or your car trip
to get around naps and
get
such.
around naps, do it when they're in their best
their best selves. Yeah.
You know,
that's so important.
Food, obviously, we all know how important it is to always have extra snacks.
Which, let's be honest, even I'm the same way. I'm like, you guys better have snacks for me.
Yeah. Prioritizing sleep and food, as we all know as moms, is 100% needed, and even more so when you travel. So like high priority for that. And if you're fortunate enough to have help, I mean, that's what we've done is
like bringing the grandparents along. That's great.
Yeah. If you're okay, if you are able to, or you're, you know, get along with them enough, you know, that's like the biggest thing is, or even if like your brother's siblings are willing to travel with you and just help out a little bit. It always helps to have extra hands, right?
That's really nice, yeah.
So, you know, vacation with kids is definitely not the same. I
mean, because like to your point, like it's chaos, right? But like, you know, you are also making memories and like, you know, encouraging your kids to try other cultures, you know, like going to the idea of leading by example, right? Like you're not just telling them about where you're traveling, you're taking them with you and letting them experience it with you.
Yeah. And I think there's a huge value. I put a huge value in being trying to be uncomfortable, because I think that if you put yourself out there, then that helps you grow as a person, and you can just do more if you get outside your comfort zone, right?
You're so good about that, though. Like I just admire that about you, because you really. I tell you this all the time. Like, you just carry a facade of such a confident person and so brave, and you're very good about putting yourself in challenging spots to just challenging for you, right? Like challenging for you to learn new stuff, and you're always open to learning. I find that I watch you when it comes to me trying to challenge myself. Like it's like what would Erin do? Kind of thing.
Thank you, Tam.
Like it's like I just you're impressive, and I feel like I just really want you to know that like I really think that's a really amazing talent that you have.
Well, thank you, Tam. I feel like I appreciate that so much, but like internally, you know, I'm still like anxious and scared. You know?
That makes me feel like maybe I have a shot at it. Like, because when you say that, like, it makes me be like, okay, so she's not just doing this because she's like naturally like that. Like, there's still some underlying anxiety, but you're so brave because you push past the anxiety and do that. And so like, I need to be more brave like Erin. I need to be more willing to put myself in uncomfortable positions. And maybe I would enjoy so like, because travel is one of those ones that like I'll be honest with you, like granted the pandemic helped a little bit, but I didn't travel with my kids a lot in the first years of their lives, because I was just like, there's no way I'm taking this chaos to an area in which I have no control.
I think you have to, it helps you let go of a lot of stuff too. You just have to kind of go with it, the flow, which I'm not very good at day to day, but when you just have to lower your expectations kind of when you travel with kids, and just know that it's not going to be like necessarily the most fun all the time, but
because I mean, it's not going to be a perfect trip. Like, you're going to have meltdowns, you're going to have folks that are going to upset. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can have a meltdown on just a Tam and Pat only trip.
Right. So
it's like, I'm not saying that it's completely out of the realm of a meltdown not happening the other way, but you know, it's, I think you're right. I think setting expectations of like, you know, what are your goals ahead of time? Try to just make it as easy and go with the flow with the kids. And also don't try to put the kids in scenarios like you said, like you're not taking your kids to the museums right now, because you just know that that's just not their wheelhouse right now. So set yourself up for success by not
And I think too, knowing that like your first couple trips might suck. But like
with the kids? Okay.
And then if you can get past that barrier of being uncomfortable, and you learn a lot about how they travel, and they get used to it too, and then they start to get excited about it, you know.
Good.
I think that there's something there too, you know, like, and which is hard to do to get, you know, you almost feel like it's a wasted trip the first couple of times or something, you know, if it's stressful. But
you spend so much money on and all the planning, and you're like, why do we even do this?
Yeah, but then, you know, you get past that, and maybe starting smaller than not getting on a flight,
just
but
like
doing
a weekend
something more,
trip or something drivable. That's a good idea.
Getting them comfortable sleeping in a new place. Things like that.
That's a great idea. Like, kind of work your way up to it with kids, and then you can eventually get to that point where you travel farther and do more things, because they know what to expect, right? Because I mean, they don't know what's coming. They don't know what you're taking them to until they get an opportunity to actually live that with you.
Exactly.
What a great point. Oh my gosh. Okay, so then if we talk about like how we usually rate this thing, right? Well, our hobbies, we usually go through engagement, enjoyment, skill development, social interaction, stress relief. How would you rate traveling? Well, actually, no. I'm gonna break it into two.
Okay.
How would you rate traveling with kids? How would you rate traveling without kids?
Great point. I mean,
Remember,
I guess
this is recorded history. They're going to hear this someday.
Yes. I guess traveling without kids was 5 out of 5 for me. Yeah. 100%. You know, it checks all the boxes. And with kids, I would say it's a 4 out of 5 for me. To me, it's worth it. It is more stressful. So that's why I would downgrade it a little bit.
Sure.
But I think still it's very high. Yeah. Like highly rated all around.
Yeah.
And I think if anybody has the luxury, ability to do it, even if it's short trips, like I said, I think it's worthwhile.
Because even
for
just
many
little
reasons.
trips, like it doesn't have to be a trip to Japan, right?
Yeah.
Just getting your kids to try, like, see what it's like to go to a different location, and just like you said, even just sleeping somewhere new, and then trying to explore that area. Because I just feel like kids are naturally explorative.
Definitely, just get them outside. Right? Me and Adam have been talking about. We live in Missouri, and Missouri is actually really beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful places, and just getting like little Airbnbs and going for a weekend, and just for that purpose, getting them outside in nature, away from like the routine, just so that we can do something different. So
that's key to note, breaking outside of daily routine. Because I think when you break outside of daily routine, I think it gives you a chance to really kind of like think about what you're going to do next, right? Like Monday through Friday, we all wake up and know exactly what we're going to do from start to finish, right?
We're like in the hamster wheel, right?
Yeah, you just kind of just get locked in, and once Monday starts, you lock in, and then you're just like head down until Friday, right? But then like if you can step away from just your normal life, your normal stressors, and then like just be together in a different place, you almost kind of learn something new about each other, and then you get to experience that together and create memories together. Yeah, it's just. You can really grow from both sides of the vacations. And so I think you're right. I think there's definite worth in making sure that you put both of those types of vacations into your life, because I think you're deserving to have a vacation without kids, and you're also deserving of having a vacation with your kids.
Yeah, definthere.
That's great.
100%. Awesome.
I love it. Yeah. So do you know what your next hobby is going to be?
Oh, that's a great question, Tam. I don't know. The ramen, the noodle making might be
up
there on the
Yes.
That is definitely on the top of my list.
Okay.
Yeah, so I might dive into that next.
Please. Yeah. If my opinion matters to you at all, I would highly request.
Okay.
I think that'd be so cool. And honestly, I would really like to try.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in like me like coming and just hanging out while you go from like, do you think you could do start to finish like what you did in the class?
Yeah, I probably could.
You think you could?
I probably could, yeah.
Okay, so I want full start to finish. I want you to make me a ramen bowl. Okay. And I want you to invite me over for dinner.
Wow. Okay.
So I can try it.
Okay.
By the way, I've never had ramen outside of like the 25-cent package from
this
the
is way
grocery
different.
store.
Way different.
So I have like the bar is there's no bar.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Awesome. All right. Stay tuned for Erin's cooking show, in which Tamara reports back on whether or not she likes ramen.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Join us next time.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Hobbiness. Be sure to leave a review and rating. And for a little extra Erin and Tam fun, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Pinterest for behind-the-scenes footage of our journey to find hobbiness.